Good morning, everybody. Triple J Outfitters Adam Jarchow and Joel Kleefisch are our very special guests today, Friday, September 9th, 2022. For DrydenWare.com, I'm Ben Dryden, and today we're talking about my favorite topic, hunting. But quickly, a special thank you to some of our guests recently, including Congressman Tom Tiffany, AFP Wisconsin State Director Eric Bott, Democrat nominee for Wisconsin's 28th Assembly District, and Adams BFF Patty Schochner, Democrat nominee for Wisconsin's 30th Assembly District Sarah Yakub, as well as U.S. Senator Ron Johnson. You can watch a recording of those shows and all of our shows, and there goes Joel. Good thing we told him how to get back on our website at DrydenWire.com, on our Facebook page, which is what you're watching on right now, just on our videos tab, or on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/DrydenWire. But today we're chatting with friend of the show, Adam Jarchow, and first time on the show, hopefully, Joel Kleefisch. So Adam, hey, we'll start with you. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Fantastic.
I'm glad that you get to talk about hunting. I know how much you love the outdoors and love hunting and fishing. I mean, this show is right up your
It
alley.
is.
Everything you ever dreamed of.
Well, interestingly enough, I went yesterday or last night, and guest has muted himself. Sorry, we're trying to get Joel back on. Hold on a second. So let's try that, and there he goes. Ugh.
Quite as bad.
What's that?
Hit me in the head while alligator. But there you go. Even centered up.
Live shows, I tell you. What are you gonna do? Oh, it looks like you're still on something. I don't know what's going on. So hold on. Let me remove that. There we go. All right. So we were just talking about, hunting really isn't, my gig. But when I Googled Triple J Outfitters yesterday and I looked at the website, it might kind of be up my alley. So, I don't like fishing, for example, because it just, you go out, you cast a line in a lake and you get a bass or a whatever the other fish are called. And you're like, okay, that's fine. But now if you're talking, hey, we're going to go trolling for sharks, now that's an experience. So I would totally do that. And I feel like that's kind of what this is, but I don't know that much about it. Joel, this is the first time that you have been on. So thank you so very much for joining us. So who wants to give us a summary of what is Triple J Outfitters? Actually, Joel, I'll just ask you, give us a summary of what this is.
Well, Triple J Outfitters is an alligator and wild hog hunting outfitter in Florida. So I guess you could say it's two extremely unlikely guys in the alligator boys game in the United States. You see shows like Swamp People and other shows that go alligator hunting. And the last two people you'd probably ever think who would be involved in that would be two former elected officials from the state of Wisconsin. But I have to tell you, about 13 years ago, I went down to Florida. A friend of mine, I was doing a little substitute teaching in a public school up here. And the superintendent of the school said, "You really ought to come down to Florida with me and go hog hunting." My college roommate owns an orange grove down there. So I went along with him and had literally the time of my life in Florida chasing hogs around. They're incredibly destructive to the agriculture industry in Florida. And a lot of the farmers, the grove owners, they want them off. And they thrive in orange groves. They eat oranges, these hogs. So we went after hogs, running them with dogs and sitting in stands, trying to shoot hogs. And of course, obviously, by the looks of me, I like to eat what I kill. Obviously, food is my favorite dish. So I thought to and I'm not joking with you. You cut open these hogs in Florida, they're eating oranges all night long. You cut them open, they literally smell like oranges. It's like pre-marinated, orange pork or something like that. So we ended up doing that, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with Florida and the hunting opportunities there. And beyond that, I expanded that then later into alligator hunting. Now, alligator hunting has really become in Florida, it's a game. And it's alligator farms. And when you go on the internet and you try to find a place to hunt an alligator, they'll say, "Oh, come to Florida, kill an alligator for $2,000." You go down there, you're going to an enclosed place inside of a fence where they've grown alligators to certain sizes on certain ponds. And they get you because they charge a trophy fee to kill these alligators. So you'll go and you'll kill an alligator and it's 10 feet, and all of a sudden they say, well, that's $2,000, but $1,000 per foot after that for a trophy fee. So I thought to myself, you've got people in Wisconsin, they can't kill hogs here, they can't kill alligators here. And what hunters love to do is hunt species that they can't hunt around their houses, around their homes, or where they live. So I thought, why don't we bring people from the Midwest, which has expanded across the country now? Why don't we bring people from the Midwest and show them what a real redneck hunt is like? Not some canned hunt that you find on the internet and you go and you pay your $10,000, $12,000 to kill a 10-foot alligator. A friend of mine just killed a 12-foot alligator down there. It cost him $30,000. I
Oh,
wanted
I'm
the
sorry. How much did it
real
cost?
$13,000 to kill a 12-foot alligator.
Oof.
Not with us. Not with us. I wanted to create something that allowed people to come have the real redneck experience in the palmettos of Florida, in the swamps of Florida, hunting alligators wild. Wild.
Totally.
Whole trip for $4,000. We wanted to make it feasible for blue collar, white collar, anybody who wants to go to Florida and have a real experience hunting hogs and alligators. And that was the idea for Triple J Outfitters when I started it about 10 years ago.
10
And
years.
then we've had dozens and dozens and dozens of people and repeat customers who come down because they come down just as much for the people and the airboat rides and the shooting the gators and making clothing out of it, boots, belts, holsters, you name it. And we really fill a niche, and you don't know what you're going to get because it's hunting.
All right. So you had me at airboat. I've been saying that for years on every show that we've done, like even with Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, we do a weekly show called Positive Benefit. And every holiday, it's a 4th of July weekend and people are out on the boats. I'm like, you need an airboat. And then I will, just hire me and I'll just, deputize me or something. I'll just drive it around. So I want to circle back to the airboat here in a minute. Adam, how did you end up a part of this?
Yeah, so you know that I went to college in Florida, and so when I was in college, met some friends, and my brother went to college there, and I would hog hunt there, and do some redneck Florida stuff. I grew up hunting in Wisconsin. I've hunted my whole life and fished my whole life, so it was sort of second nature to get an opportunity to do that in Florida. And then when I got elected to the legislature, I met this suburban legislator named Joel Kleefisch, and he purported to be a hunter, and so I got to talk to him. And he told me that he hunts gators and hogs in Florida. And I said, well, where do you hunt? And he told me Yeehaw Junction. And I said, holy cow, that's like half an hour from where I hog hunt. And so we hit it off, and we hunted together a couple of times at a place that Joel had a lease at, a great orchard or grove. And what was it, a year and a half ago, they were looking at selling that place. So Joel and I decided to see if we could find some property of our own to run these hog and gator hunts out of. And we found some property and bought it. And it is hillbilly heaven. You have to go a mile through dirt roads and mud bogging and gates and cow pastures to get back to this property out in the middle of nowhere that has a little creek that runs through it. And it's a spectacular piece of Florida property that has these old rickety trailers on. So when you come hunting with us, you get the full experience of redneckism, and it's a lot of fun.
I was just thinking actually, while you were talking, that if I had the two of you on 2 months ago, we'd be having a completely different conversation. So clearly, you guys have some time on your hands.
Perhaps.
So the hog part. So I wasn't aware that it was hogs as well. So educate me. What is a hog? I mean, I'm assuming it's just a wild pig, but clearly I must not be right. What is a hog?
They're not just wild pigs in Florida. In fact, the Spanish brought over Russian boars. So the Russian boar genealogy is different than the domestic hog. The Russian boar is the one with the real long snout, the razorback ridge on their back. And the Spanish brought them to Florida in the 16 and 1700s, extremely early on. So Florida is the only place in the country you can hunt an authentic, actual genealogical wild Russian boar in the country because they have proliferated throughout Florida, and they don't have any natural predators except alligators, really, when alligators will eat the young boars. They don't really, they're not really after the big boars. Some of them can get up to 500-600 pounds. But Florida is the only place in the country you can actually hunt the Russian boar, and that has proliferated throughout the state. Now, there is some mixing with feral pigs that have gotten off farms, of course, but 85% or better of the DNA of these hogs in Florida is still Russian boar, which is a coveted trophy for many people. Many people travel to Europe to hunt Russian boars. The only place you can do it in the United States on a fair chase scale. Now, there are hunting preserves, fenced areas that have them, but the only place you can do it is Florida if you want to hunt an actual Russian boar. They run dogs for them, and these Russian boars have grown.
Goodbye, Joel.
And we'll see you in a minute here, Joel. So, Adam, why don't you pick up? So, first of all, what I was hoping to ask him was, excuse me, oh, you got to just get rid of him there, and hopefully he'll jump back on. Is like PETA and stuff. Is this something that it's like, well, how dare you? Or is this? He had mentioned earlier that these things, like the hogs, they eat oranges and sounds like maybe destroy crops and stuff. Is this like a welcome thing down there? Like, please come and kill these things.
Yeah, they're actually a nuisance. So they want you to get rid of these. And now, look, PETA hates themselves, right? So they don't. I mean, they hate everything. So I'm sure they're against whatever you would do that makes sense. But certainly, getting rid of a nuisance species like this or hunting them makes sense. I looked one day. I Googled it, and I'm going to tell you the wrong number, but it's going to be close-ish. There's something like 250,000 wild Russian boars in Florida, or wild Russian hogs, I should say, in Florida. So there's no shortage of these things. They are all over the place. And that property that we bought, which is about an hour and a half south of Orlando. So when we fly to Orlando, get in a truck and drive down to our place. And that property that we have is an absolute wildlife refuge. We have beautiful Osceola turkeys, huge bucks. I mean, this time of year on my Facebook page, which I follow a ton of hunting groups, all I see are trail camera pictures of big bucks. And now with bear season starting, big bears. We had a big bear on our property in Florida, believe it or not. They have big black bears in Florida that tore our feeders down, and it's on our game cameras. And you add that to the big bucks that we have coming in. This is one of the neatest pieces of property that I've ever had an opportunity to be on. And Joel and I are lucky enough to own it. And every once in a while, get some folks from Florida or from Wisconsin to come down and hunt with us there.
How big is the property?
It's 40 acres.
We bought a. Oh, go ahead, Joel.
Yeah, it's a 40-acre plot, and what's interesting about this in Florida, there really is not much topography. Most things are flat in Florida. Florida's built on a swamp, essentially. But this property's actually got a grazing patch of 10 acres on top, then it goes down into the palmettos and palm trees to literally Catfish Creek, which runs through the property and divides the property. And the Catfish Creek has got, fish in it, catfish. So we're one of those rare areas in Florida that's got topography to it. Palm trees, palmettos, hardwoods, but our property's bordered by Florida state-owned wildlife refuges. So in essence, our property is bordered by land that nobody can access or hunt, which makes our property kind of the go-to place for all the wildlife. We've got feeders up down there, which is perfectly legal in Florida, and we have the hogs coming in on the regular, so that when we come down, we can hunt them. We had a picture on one of our game cameras of an alligator sitting under one of our feeders. The wildlife's just absolutely incredible. It's we're just an hour south of Orlando, about an hour and 15 minutes or so south of Orlando. So we're able to head down there, fly into Orlando, and head down with our crew, and then we do our alligator hunting anywhere kind of in the North Everglades, from Fort Pierce, Port St. Lucie, in those areas. So we usually have about 30, 40, maybe an hour drive to hunt alligators. wherever the alligators are prevalent and wherever we have the tags for at the time. And that's another thing incredibly unique. We are teamed up with some of the biggest alligator harvesters in the state of Florida. So we can hunt alligators all year long. We don't have to be in an alligator, hunting season. We can take folks at any time on wild Florida alligator chases any time of the year. So we do have much more popular bookings in the winter up here because we go down there at 70, 80 degrees. We're driving around with trucks, blasting redneck music, and shooting gators and making shoes and eating in the wild. It's pretty awesome.
So, what about the safety aspect? So, obviously, I'm not a huge hunter, but this sounds like an experience, and we'll get into more of that. And we already have a question here, like the stay and the experience. We get into that in just a few minutes. But there has to be some kind of since they're not in a fenced-in area in like a 1 acre, and going, all right, stand outside, shoot it, done. You're driving around. I've seen, I don't know, nature shows. Alligators don't seem super friendly. So I don't know, how does that whole thing work? Don't they come kind of close and there's a safety issue?
Yeah, well, Ben, let me tell you what. If you're going to go on an alligator hunt, there's a part of you that wants the excitement about the fact that you're hunting a dangerous animal, no question about it. And you have to have your wits about it. We hunt down there with Keith Parlier and Shelby Ward and Jeff Ward and Keith's brother. And these guys are experts who hunt alligators year long for the harvesting of them. In fact, a lot of the hides end up being used in Hermes bags out of Paris.
He must have terrible internet.
No kid.
Oh, gone again.
I live in the country, so I don't have internet. So we're going off 4G out here. That's part of the problem. When you go with us, you can be sure of one thing for certain. There's always going to be someone else, me or Shelby or Keith's brother or Shelby's dad, or Shelby's grandpa, who's in his 80s, who goes hunting with us down there, in between you and the alligator, should something potentially.
Okay. Well, that makes more sense.
I will tell you though, Ben, the most dangerous part about the whole deal is when you're riding back in the airboat and it's dark, it's at night, you're in the swamp, you're flying along the swamp in the airboat, and the drivers, these guys that Joel was telling you about, are driving these airboats, and you're sitting high up on the seats of the airboats, and an egret hits you in the face as you're driving the airboat and nearly decapitates you, which happened to Joel the last time we were there.
What's an
egret? It's become a running joke in the camp about Joel almost getting decapitated by an egret.
What's an egret?
It's a big dumb bird.
Funny.
I'll have to look that one up. Egret.
Yeah, the story's only because I don't know. Can you guys hear me all right still?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. The story's only funny because I didn't get killed. On the front, it was in the late, and he's flying through the bulrushes in the swamp on the airboat, and I'm in the seat behind him. That's up higher. And all of a sudden, I see a white flash drop out of the trees. And before I can even react, it's a massive heron-like bird that's white, and it's coming straight for my head. And it hit in the top of the head, straight on, 40 miles an hour. Whack! Boom! Boom! Flies through the back fan of the airboat. Boom! With my hat, with my headlamp, my sunglasses shattered. There's feathers flying everywhere. I'm covered in blood. And I'm wondering if it's my blood or the egret's blood. Am I still alive, or is this alligator hunting heaven? And we get back, and nobody else knew it happened. And I'm a disheveled mess, teetering off the thing, thanking God for my life. And so I had to explain the story. The white egret dropped out of the tree and hit me square in the head. Had it been a few inches lower, my head would have probably been taken off and gone through the.
So, hey, if you sign up to go, you can look for, a whole bunch of excitement.
Oh, and I have to be honest with you, Ben. I mean, some of what makes it great and exciting is the fact that you are pursuing a predator animal. You're pursuing an animal that is, it's highly regulated with harvest quantities. and its population has to be kept in check as well, just like any deer population or any other animal population. But when we're down there, you never quite know what to expect. All I can tell you is the folks we surround ourselves with are like family. We have more people come back as much for the people we go down there and spend our time with as they do go back for the alligator hunting. And when you do hunt an alligator, and you can make yourself some of the amazing things you can make with alligator hide, then you find yourself wanting to make more things, and you got to go get another alligator. And the truth of the matter is, Triple J Outfitters does it for such a cheap, reasonable price compared to any other preserve out there, that it really is the deal of a century to be able to go with us. And we keep it that low in price because we want people to experience it. Because less than 0.1% of all people can ever say they successfully hunted an alligator in the United States, and more of them from Wisconsin can say that now, which is pretty cool to us.
Well, it looks like Romaine. Adam, did Romaine go down with you guys for that?
He did. He went on a hunt last last winter, and
Did somebody have to shoot it for him? Please tell me that happened. Please.
You should ask Romaine how many times it actually took him to get his gator.
Okay.
And I'll let Joel explain a little bit about exactly how it works, because it is a lot of fun, and it's not like you see on TV. So you're out in the airboats in the middle of a swamp, and you see these gators, and the guys that we're with, they can tell how big the gators are by how their eyes look sticking out of the water. If you think about a gator in the water, the only thing that's sticking out, right, is their eyes and a little bit of their head, and they can tell how big they are. And so then you're casting for these gators with a big, what I would call a musky rod, and trying to hook them and bring them up to the boat, and then hit them with a bang stick to kill them. And you have to hit them in the back of the head with a bang stick. And poor Romaine really had a tough time figuring out exactly where to hit his gator. And he got a monster. I mean, an absolute monster. Do you remember how big his was? Was it 11 feet or 12 feet?
11 and a half feet. Was a giant, absolute giant.
What's the biggest one? Each of you, Adam, I'll start with you. What's the biggest gator you've, killed?
Just under 10 feet.
Just under 10. Joel?
12 and a half feet is the biggest one, but I've killed about 50 gators. So
Okay, so now we'll get into the, you've already mentioned that it's what the experience is like. Is this an all-encompassing thing? Now let's get into what does this cost? And what kind of comes with it? Someone had a question, Shabana, how long for a typical stay for this experience? Is it a long weekend? Is it a week? Is it 2 weeks? There's airfare. Do you have to stay somewhere? Like everything, that's all on you. You just got to get here, or is that all a part of it? How does that part work?
Well, first of all, it's an experience that is pretty much all encompassing. If you want the real, Southern Florida or Central Florida historical gator hunt, it's $4,000 a person, and included in that is your pickup at the airport, the rental of the truck that we have, firearms are included, ammunition is included, your stay at our camp at Catfish Creek is included, and your alligator tag is included. Now, if you apply for a tag, for a public tag down there to hunt during the season, for an out-of-state person, that's $2,000. Just
Holy cow.
So for $4,000, you get the entire hunt. You get to stay with us in our trailers on Triple J Outfitters property in Catfish Creek, Florida, right outside Yeehaw Junction. We do our hunting throughout that area. So your tag, which is actually the most expensive part of it, is included in that price. You do have to get yourself here and pay for your drinks and food when you're here. Although, a lot of the times I just pick up stuff and cook it at the camp while we're there. And there's some great restaurants in the area in Lake Wales. But one of the cool things is people say, how do you kill a gator? We employ every single tactic there is. We've got musky rods with giant treble hooks, and we're trying to hook them. So a lot of times someone along will get to fight the alligator in. While
You're fishing for an alligator?
For an alligator, it's insane. I mean, you've got your rod buckled over, you're reeling in an alligator, and your buddy's at the shore trying to get a good headshot, because an alligator has about that big a size spot that you can put a fatal shot on them. If you shoot them in the body and they get off the line, they're going to the bottom. You're never finding them again. They're neutrally buoyant, so they can sink or swim by how much they hold in their air bladder. So you got to hit them in that spot. And man, there are many times where we're reeling them in, or we've got them hooked on a harpoon and we're fighting them in, and you put a shot that's not perfect. Well, that just ticks off the alligator. Then you got an extra fight on your hands. You got 5 people, tugging on the line, trying to get it in, making sure the shooter's safe off to the side and gets that shot on the head. So we shoot them across ditches, drainage ditches and dikes in the groves. We shoot them off airboats off the side of properties. But you get all that included. We usually go a Thursday to a Sunday or a Friday to a Monday. And all the stay days are included in that. Like I said, your rental car, your ammunition, your firearms, getting to where we go to hunt the gators. And then, Adam and I usually get talked into throwing in, we had this great business plan. And part of our great business plan is that we're two nice guys and we just want everyone to experience everything. So we usually throw in a hog hunt too. They can sit in the stands that are baited on our Triple J Outfitters property. Eric Tuckner, one of our buddies, came down and he harvested a huge Russian boar from one of the spots he was sitting in. So we usually throw in a hog hunt too, making it like a double hunt. You go down there for 2 species, and
Sure.
we blast. We have people contacting us all the time. I mean, I'm only able to go 8-10 times a year. People contact us so much because we have a lot of repeat customers who want to just go down there for the experience and the people. And frankly, a lot of times to get away from the cold, it's a great break and it's exciting. It's not for the faint of heart, but that's what makes it so fun.
Well, I'm glad you throw in extra ammo because I'm sure Romaine probably needed it. And I think you had.
Can I tell a Romaine story?
Please tell a Romaine story.
So Romaine is hog hunting after he kills this monster gator. He's sitting up in the stand, and we've got these trail cameras out, and the trail cameras are the kind that will send you a picture back to your cell phone. So you're hog hunting at night, and you have a thermal scope or a night vision scope, one of the two. So Romaine's up in the tree stand, and he's got this scope, and I see a picture of a hog come to my phone while I'm at the camp, sitting in front of Romaine's stand. And so I'm just waiting to hear the shot, and I don't hear a shot, and I text him. I was like, there is a hog in front of you. He never got it.
He had the night vision and everything, and he never saw it.
Oh, that's
Sorry,
great.
Romaine. It's a good story.
No, please. We welcome Romaine stories. And by the way, Joel, I think you had me at shooting a gator on an airboat. That is I don't know. I'm just picturing that movie Gator with who's the guy in that movie?
They float for everything. So I mean, it's a rocky ride. Now, of course, I do have PTSD about getting on an airboat now since that experience. But we go down. The families that we do it with, the Ward family, they've been hunting alligators for more than 100 years, and we're literally out in the field with 4 generations of Wards on airboats. And these guys are experienced in everything. They know the bull rushes like the back of their hand, and they're flying through, and it doesn't matter. I mean, you're looking at something like you're going to hit it, and with these airboats, you float right over it. It's
we have a question here from Kevin. What's the % of success for the hunts?
Kevin, as long as you can safely and somewhat accurately fire a firearm, we are at 100% success so far over the 10 years I've been doing it.
We can't guarantee hogs, though, Romaine. Yeah, no, you have to be paying attention when they're right in front of you. So, I mean, we can't guarantee.
Yeah, no, we have a 100% success rate. The difference is and I'll tell people this right off the bat, if you're going down there to put an 11 or 12-foot alligator on your wall, go to an alligator farm, go and spend your $13,000 to do that. That is not the type of outfitter we are. We're hunting wild gators. A trophy alligator starts at about 7.5 feet and goes up to the 12 feet, 13 feet. We've had successes from 8 foot gators to 12 foot gators with our hunters. You're wild hunting, so it's like sitting in the woods waiting for that big buck to come along. A lot of times you've got a trophy buck, and everybody's definition of trophy is different, but we're hunting wild gators and it's wild hunting. So we shoot and hunt what we see while we're out there hunting. It's awesome.
So do you eat the gators as well, or is it just for the? I don't think it's called skin. The what is that called? The hide,
The hunt.
right? Yeah. So you eat the gator too?
I'm going to tell you what. I literally had 70 pounds of alligator in my refrigerator 2 weeks ago. I'm down to about 10 pounds left because we love to eat it so
What does
much.
it taste like? And don't say chicken.
I tell people it tastes like if a scallop and a chicken had a baby. It's kind of a combination between like dark meat, chicken, and seafood, and it's got a real rich kind of seafoody texture and taste to it, somewhat like calamari but softer. We have everything when you hunt gators with us. All of the meat is done by Cut Right Outback and our friends Shelby and Jeff Ward. They strip it out, cube it, so it's all tenderized into strips like this that are this thick, which are amazing fried. But lately, I've been marinating them overnight in olive oil, oregano, and garlic, and then I stack them on a spit and throw it on the smoker until I make a cone, and then slice that meat off into alligator gyros. I've been making alligator gyros and street tacos. My daughter had her high school friends over. They just can't get enough of it. It's unbelievable.
How
So
much is an average gator? You said between like 8, 12 feet. We'll just say a 10-footer. I don't know. Like an average gator that you get. How much meat would somebody expect to get out of that to take home?
well, if you shoot a 10-foot gator, you're going to be taking home about 70 pounds of meat. About really, you only eat the tail meat on a gator, and you can roast the legs by themselves, and that meat will fall off just like it falls off a chicken bone being
Okay.
roasted on the gator. But you're going to get about 70 pounds of meat, give or take, on a 10-foot gator. So you get a lot of meat from it. From the tail section, which is like the prime meat of the alligator. Then there is a tenderloin section that on the bigger gators we take as well. But it's the meat from an alligator is incredibly versatile. I make alligator noodle soup. I make alligator
This
gyros,
is like
street
Forrest Gump right now.
Shrimp
Yeah.
fried
gumbo.
Shrimp. Go. Yes.
rice. It was Bubba, wasn't it? Fried
Bubba. Yeah,
rice.
Bubba Shrimp.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one. Adam, I think I've seen you make some, I don't know, boots or something. I think I've seen. What else have you
I
made
did.
out of alligator
I
hide?
of alligator skin boots. I've got every single handgun I own, which is more than 10, has an alligator holster for it. I've got alligator belts, alligator cowboy hat bands, alligator gun slings. I have an alligator briefcase that I take to work for my consulting business. And that I have never carried that one day that someone hasn't said, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Where did you do it? And I say, thanks, I killed it myself. And that's part of what makes it so exciting and fantastic is that you are literally utilizing every single thing from that wild game harvest from start to finish, from field to table, from swamp to table. I mean, I hunt geese. We serve, heard of surf and turf. We serve swamp and sky at my house. We've got we have goose and gator on the same table. It's so fun. It's so fantastic, and it's the gift that keeps on giving because once your hide goes to the tannery, which is right in Florida too, Sebring Tannery, you tell them what color you want, and it comes back to your house about 6 months later. Then you have this blank canvas of hide to decide what you want made from it. And I have a leathersmith in Wisconsin who makes anything we can dream of: cup holders, notebook covers, phone case covers. He made me a wine skin out of alligator. I mean, literally, I don't go a day in my life without something alligator. My alligator wallet's in my pocket 24/7.
Will a 10-foot gator be enough hide for a pair of boots? Ooh.
You can make 6 pairs of boots out of a 10-foot alligator. You
Oh.
can. There's Adam's alligator boots. Um, the alligator boots that I have, the best pair I have, the coolest pair I have, was out of a 5-foot alligator I shot. It was Shelby's first harpoon. I killed the alligator, and they're the coolest pair of boots because they have all the little teeny squares in them from the smaller alligator. You get a 10-foot alligator, you can make 5 pairs of boots out of it. We got a guy from Texas who works with us out of Cowtown Boots, Abraham from Cowtown Boots in Austin, Texas.
Joel, does Rebecca like the taste of a gator, and has she gone down and shot a gator?
She is scheduled for her first trip with me down to Triple J Outfitters Properties in November, so I will be able to get back to you on that one. But she carries an alligator purse with her every day that I killed and had made for her. And she, 13 years ago, she had never even tried wild game. And now, as you know, Rebecca had cancer at age 35. And we eat only natural meat in our house. Sure, we buy little cold cuts from time to time. But all we eat in our house is game we killed. That's the most organic thing you can put in your body, the most chemical-free thing. And so she eats the gamut of wild game that we have. And one of the cool things for me, I don't know if you know this, I do cooking segments and hunting segments for the Outdoor Channel, Ben. I'm on a show called The Fowl Life, and they feature my cooking segments on Ted Nugent's show, The Spirit of the Wild.
What?
On the Outdoor. Yeah, what? So I get to do a lot of cooking. The Fowl Life crew came in from the Outdoor Channel last year. I ended up signing on with them and doing cooking segments for them. So for me, it's about that provider lifestyle, taking it from field to table, being creative in the kitchen, making it so wild game is not a taboo, it's mainstream. And you can make wild game as delicious, in my opinion, more delicious than what you buy from the. So
I'll speak to that. I have never liked to eat goose my entire life, and Joel brought some of the goose that he likes to hunt and has cooked for us to Florida, and it is fantastic. He's a great cook, and not something that he spends a lot of time talking about it, but he's a really good cook and can take a pretty tough gamey meat, if anybody's actually had goose and had it done the wrong way, and he can turn it into something that's really fantastic.
We have a question here. How long is the waiting list to get a? How is there a waiting list? Sorry.
I guess there is in essence a waiting list because people want to go in certain times of the year. Usually they don't want to go down to Florida and hunt an alligator when it's 150
Sure.
degrees.
Is there like a website people go to and they can look to see what's available?
The website, but I'm going to give you my phone number too. And people who are interested, what we do, anybody who calls, we work with them on the times that work for me and for them and for Adam and for them. And we work something out. My number is 262-617-6343. 262-617-6343. And like I said, I do about 8 to 10 trips a year, but I get on the phone with people, they get excited, then I get excited, then I want to make it happen, and we make it happen. And nobody who's gone on a trip with us has ever regretted it. Most of them end up coming back, being repeat customers. But we love to show more people our experience. And now that Adam and I have Triple J Outfitters property down there, we're probably going to book a few more trips because of it. So give us a call at 262-617-6343. You'll talk to me. Wait till the show's over though, because every time someone calls in on my phone,
it'll hang up the thing. So just wait a minute, will ya? I know you're excited.
Our website. TripleJOutfitters.com. TRIPLEJ, the letter J, Outfitters, TripleJOutfitters.com.
Okay.
You can see pictures there. You can see the folks we hunt with, and
you guys should have packages for the times that like Adam is down there or you're down there, Joel. Like I would go if I knew Adam was going to be there, and I would pay extra if Romaine went just so I could get some humor when I'm down there. I would pay another $1,000 if Romaine went too.
I think we can work that out.
All Awesome. Well, what is obviously we talked about a lot of things. I didn't really know what to kind of talk about this other than just to get to know it a little bit. So, Joel, I'll start with you. Is there anything that we didn't get a chance to talk to that you wanted to make sure that people knew about this?
Well, the fact of the matter is, we have stories for decades that we can talk about down there, individual experiences. But I'm going to tell you something. When somebody who is either a seasoned hunter, because we've had, the Safari Club International guys, kind of guys come down and they're used to $30,000 elk hunts. And we've had guys come down who have saved for 4 years just to have that $4,000 to have that experience. We've had the gamut of people. And the one thing that we see on their face every time they come down when we're out hunting alligators is they'll look at you. They look next to me because I'm always right with the hunters in the trucks and on the sides of the banks and with the poles. And they look at you like, is this really happening? And the answer is yes. So many times in life, you have opportunities for experiences that for whatever reason you may not take. You're never going to be on your deathbed and say, I'm glad I didn't go gator hunting. Not only is it the real experience, not only does it provide field to table food, but it provides souvenirs for the rest of your life. But beyond that, life is about experiences, not things. And when you have this experience to share with your friends and to participate in, it is an experience of a lifetime that very few people can share. And the beauty of being able to tell them, yes, this is real. You're in Florida, you're hunting gators. It almost supersedes the actual fact that you're out there
Yeah.
hunting. And I love the point at which everybody makes that kill shot. They don't jump up and down and scream. They look at you and you go, yep, you did it. You killed it. Let's go get your gator.
When you say it's an experience that you can share, that's not what you mean. It's kind of like at the very beginning of the show, I said, I don't fish because, you just go and get a bass or whatever. But if you're trolling for a shark, now that's something. So I wouldn't want to share that experience or story. It's a one up. That's totally what I would do. Yeah, I just caught this, I don't know, 20-inch or whatever bass are, a big bass. It's like, oh yeah, that's very nice. That reminds me, last year when I was trolling for sharks,
Yeah,
so
right,
that's
right.
totally what I would do. So that's right up my alley because, yeah, that is a unique experience. And it is something that, yeah, there's some practical parts to that. And there's an experience while you're doing that. But come on. That's something that you can just rub in everyone's face for the rest of your life. And they
I'm
will
not gonna lie to
always
you.
hate it, but you'll love it.
I'm not going to lie to you. I never spend any time with anybody who's gone on those trips who doesn't end up talking about those
Yeah.
trips.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one of the things that I like about it, Ben, is a lot of people from the Midwest have been to Florida, but they haven't really ever had the opportunity to experience Florida. They fly to Orlando and they go to Disney, or they fly to Tampa and they go to the beaches over in Clearwater, and all of that's great and wonderful. But there is a part of Florida that most people don't get an opportunity to see. And people don't understand the agriculture in Florida and how much agriculture is there. They don't understand the wild that is still there. When you tell people that there are big bucks in Florida and that we have them on our game camera, they're shocked. When you tell people that there are bear in Florida, like a big bear that's tearing down our game cameras and our feeders right now and costing us a bunch of money, people don't really think about that when they think about Florida. But if you're in between the interstates and you're away from, the craziness of Orlando or Miami, there is a part of Florida that is absolutely magical, and I feel privileged to have an opportunity to share that with other people from the Midwest by doing these hunts.
There was a question, how many people can come at one time? I'm assuming that may be dependent on how many people have already maybe booked for that week or something, but assuming it was an open 4-day, 3-4 day thing, how many people, a group of 4, a group of 8, how does that work?
Yeah, if it were literally about making money, I would book it up. We can take up to 8 people capacity wise. To be perfectly honest, I enjoy more of the 4, maybe 5 person hunt at the
Okay.
high, because I personally love to get to know everybody there. I love to spend time with each person there. I love to give individual attention. So could we kill 8 gators in a couple days? Yes, we've done it. We killed 9 gators in one day one time. Um, but for me, it's most comfortable around that 4 or 5 person range, because then we all get tight by the end of the 3 days. We're laughing, telling stories. Another thing, I don't drink, so I'm always a designated driver, and I have the best redneck karaoke bars on the list. So we take folks out down at night, going out at night, to the bars. I'm the designated driver, but after a few non-alcoholic Busch Lights, I've been known to sing a little karaoke myself. I met with a young, toothless woman last time I was there, and I think it went very well.
Adam, is there anything that we didn't get a chance to talk to that you wanted to make sure that we talked about regarding Triple J Outfitters?
Yeah, well, one of the things that Joel covered a little bit, and I don't think that people will ever understand what it's like until you've actually reeled a gator up to a boat, and then the gator sees the boat and understands that it may be near the end. And so what does every wild animal do when it thinks that it's near the end? It fights for its life. And when a gator fights for its life, it rolls, right? If you've ever watched Swamp People, you see the gators roll. So what the gator does when it gets up near the boat is it rolls, which means it's rolling your line that you have attached to your pole or the harpoon, and it is trying to pull you over into the water. It is a rush like I've never had before. So if if people are interested in doing something like that, it's a lot of fun. And like Joel said, I don't think people would. I've certainly never regretted having the opportunity to do that.
Airboats and harpoons. I'm running out of reasons not to do this. What was that, Joel?
And ARs.
What's an AR? Oh, that's the gun. Is that what you shoot them with?
Well, we shoot them with a whole bunch of different guns, usually 223 or 22, 250. But because a lot of times we're shooting them across, 50, 60-foot shots, but you have to hit them right in that triangle. Then after you shoot them and then they go into a roll, then you're casting for them in the dike.
Thus, we give you a whole bunch of ammo. Got it.
Look, I always tell people, you don't come down here not to shoot.
Good point. All right. Wow, I learned a whole bunch. Thanks, guys. That was awesome. Thank you, Joel, for coming on. It was nice to meet you for the first time.
343.
Yeah, I even put it right there in the comments, 262-617-6343. Adam, as always, it's a pleasure having you on and talking to you again. Thanks, guys.
Have a great one, Ben.
Special thank you to our guest today, Triple J Outfitters, is Adam Jarchow and Joel Kleefisch, for taking the time to come on for a chat today. Reminder, Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald and I will be back for another exciting episode of Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy this coming up Tuesday at 8:30 right here on our Facebook page. So until then, for DrydenWire.com, I'm Ben Dryden saying thank you for watching, and as always, have a blessed day.